What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my picks for MLB
Thursday, September 24th.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's MLB slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made.
Okay guys, let's take a look at this 6-game main slate. At the pitcher position, I like Pablo Lopez with a 4% pitching advantage over the Atlanta Braves. Pablo Lopez, he pitches his best ball versus righty batters. He's only giving up a .592 OPS versus righties. And he's facing 6 righties here tonight. On top of that, the Atlanta Braves have only hit 22 of his last 90 pitches, batting a .244 batting average. He's $8,500 FanDuel salary and $1,300 less on DraftKings. He's got an ERA of 3.96. His record is 5-4 this year, pitching an average of 82 pitches per game, averaging 29 fantasy points per game. But he's scored 37 and 46 fantasy points in the last 2 games, although he did score -10 fantasy points in the game before that, but he only pitched 2 innings, so he must have pulled him early. But I think he's got some nice upside here. The splits are good, and you're going to save a little bit of salary coming down off of a guy like Lance Lynn, who I also think is a nice pitcher play here if you have the salary. But I like Pablo Lopez here versus the Atlanta Braves. Okay, let's take a look at the catcher position. I like Salvador Perez with a 43% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Michael Fulmer. Salvador Perez, he's batting a 1.042 OPS versus righties. And Michael Fulmer pitches his worst ball by far to righty batters. 41% worse than his other pitches, giving up a 1.422 OPS to righties. Now, Salvador Perez is only 4 for 17 here versus Fulmer. That's a .235 batting average with a .866 OPS versus Fulmer. But 2 of those 4 hits are for home runs. And you got to believe that that average is going to come up a little bit given the splits here. He's $3,600 FanDuel salary and $1,700 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 14 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 54, 0, and 6 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Salvador Perez here versus Michael Fulmer. So I think Salvador Perez is an exceptional FanDuel play, but he is priced up $1,700 more on DraftKings. So if you're looking for a nice value play on DraftKings, take a look at Renato Nunez with a 14% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Martin Perez. Renato Nunez is batting a .753 OPS versus lefties. And Martin Perez throws 19% worse to righties as he does lefties, giving up a .785 OPS versus righties. He is 5 for 15, batting a .333 batting average and a 1.200 OPS versus Perez. 2 of those 5 hits are for home runs. He's $3,200 FanDuel salary, but he's only $400 more on DraftKings, averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season, and he's been on fire. He scored 6, 22, and 13 fantasy points in the last 3 games, projected at 9.9 fantasy points here tonight. So I like Renato Nunez here versus Martin Perez. So just a recap, I would probably play Salvador Perez on FanDuel, and I'd play Renato Nunez on DraftKings. Okay, let's take a look at the second base position. I like Hanser Alberto with a 50% batting advantage over Martin Perez. Hanser Alberto bats 31% better versus lefty pitchers. He's batting a .913 OPS versus lefties. And Martin Perez throws his worst ball versus righty batters, 19% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .785 OPS versus righties. Hanser Alberto is 5 for 12. That's a .417 batting average and a 1.167 OPS versus Perez. He's $2,900 FanDuel salary and $800 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 9 fantasy points per game on the season, scoring 3, 9, and 3 fantasy points in the last 3 games. Projected at 9.8 fantasy points here tonight, but it's nice splits and awesome batter versus pitcher stats here. So I like Hanser Alberto here versus Martin Perez.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, who do we have at the third base position? I like Maikel Franco with a 34% batting advantage over Michael Fulmer. Maikel Franco, he's batting a .727 OPS versus righties. And we know Michael Fulmer pitches his worst ball versus righty batters, giving up a 1.422 OPS versus righties. Maikel Franco is 1 for 1. That one hit was a home run. He's got a 5 OPS versus Fulmer. He's $2,900 FanDuel salary and $1,200 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 9 fantasy points per game on the season, and he scored 13, 3, and 19 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Maikel Franco here versus Michael Fulmer. Okay, let's take a look at the shortstop position. I like Willie Castro batting against Chris Bubic. Willie Castro bats a little bit better versus lefty pitchers. He's batting a .771 OPS versus lefties. Chris Bubic is giving up a .718 OPS versus switch hitters. He's $2,900 FanDuel salary and $500 more on DraftKings. So I like this value play because he's been hot. He's averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season, but he scored 15, 16, and 10 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I'm going to ride the hot hand here, save a little money at the shortstop position. So I like Willie Castro here versus Chris Bubic. Okay, moving on to the outfield position. I like Whit Merrifield with a 40% batting advantage over that low salary pitcher, Michael Fulmer. So I think you got a nice opportunity to stack some righties here versus Michael Fulmer. Whit Merrifield is batting a .796 OPS versus righties. And we know Michael Fulmer throws his worst ball to righty batters, giving up a 1.422 OPS versus righties. So it's really a great spot to attack Michael Fulmer with righty batters here, because Whit Merrifield is 9 for 21 with a 429 batting average and a 1.143 OPS versus Fulmer. 2 of those 9 hits were for home runs. He's $3,600 FanDuel salary and $1,700 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season, and he scored 6, 3 and 9 fantasy points in the last 3 games. Projected at 10.8 fantasy points here tonight. So I like Whit Merrifield here versus Michael Fulmer.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this MLB slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.